This is Alyssa with Hularesa, and we're outside at the Hotel Cocaine premiere.
It was vitally important. When you're playing a character who existed, you start from that. You know, the foundation of Roman Compte starts with his son, Maurice Compte, and the very generous conversations that we had. And, you know, he told me some very specific memories of his father, some intimate memories of his father that served as, you know, the building block to which Chris Brancato, our showrunner, and myself then fictionalized much of the Roman Compte you see on the screen. But the foundation is Maurice's.
Is there a particular piece of wardrobe that was your favorite?
So Maurice Compte, he told me that his father always had this pendant. It is La Caridad de Cobre, so it's the patron saint of Cuba, and we call her Cachita. And so when he showed it to me, I asked him whether we can replicate it. And so he wears one that his father always wore, and Maurice wears it now. But I have the replica that my character wore in the show, and I'm wearing it tonight.
Is there a particular role of yours that has impacted you the most?
Man, it's always the one I'm working on. You know, because it's the one that is most prevalent in my mind. It's the one I dream about. It's the one I think about all the time. I feel very fortunate to have played some fantastic characters written by some very talented writers. But for me, the answer to that is always my current one.
You know, what was your reaction?
Well, more than having heard of it, I was the one who pitched the idea to Chris during Narcos.
Tell me, like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so we were doing Narcos, and they were having a conversation about the docuseries Cocaine Cowboys. And I said, you know, my dad was a cocaine cowboy. And Chris was like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, he ran the main club where it all happened. And he was like, you got to come over tonight and talk to me about it. So I went over to him and I told him. He asked me to write it out. That was in 2014. I didn't. Lucy and I got together. Lucy's a journalist, and she kept asking me to write it. And I was like, I'm not really a writer, I'm an actor, I don't really do that. And she goes, why don't we go meet at the Mutiny in Miami? We'll rent a car, we'll drive to Key West, and on the drive, you can tell me the entire story and I'll write it out. Because I'm like, I'm better than telling a story than writing a story. And so that's what happened. We met at the Mutiny. The drive from the Mutiny to Key West is 6 hours, and in that time I told her the entire story. She wrote it out, and I put it together, and you know, here we are.
Wow. So what was it like growing up for you?
It was interesting. We went through a lot of different phases. We went from like extreme poverty to rising up overnight. Like my dad literally was just like in a movie where we were living in like an apartment, like duplex type thing, and my dad showed up and told my grandmother, his mother, he's like, you're not gonna have to work again, Mom. I'm getting you a house. And then I mean, I was a kid. I was maybe 6, and I think within like a year we were in a house, and that was a house that I ended up growing up in. And I started looking back. These guys were people that would become pretty notorious in history of Miami, of the underworld, of the drug world. I didn't know they were just guys that they hung out with my dad. They were political people that were trying to get back into Cuba. It was a very different thing. But the 1980s changed everything with the Mariel and a lot of different political aspects that happened. But yeah, it was interesting.
What intrigued you about this story?
Well, for me, the Roman Compte, the lead character played by Danny Pino, his son is a friend of mine, Maurice, the real Roman Compte. So this is based on a real human being who's no longer with us. But when Maurice described his dad's role at the Mutiny Hotel, it sounded to me like the movie Casablanca, with Humphrey Bogart playing. The backdrop is World War II. There are all these people at the club who are dangerous, and so I felt, wow, we have a 1970s Miami version of this. It's Casablanca on cocaine. So I think that it was fun to explore I mean, I'm a person who likes crime shows, so
Obsessed.
so yes, narcotraficantes and the DEA agents who are chasing them was fascinating to me. The story of two brothers, one played by Danny Pino, the other played by Yul Vasquez. You know, Danny's character Roman is tasked with discovering information about his brother and basically ratting him out. So I wanted to explore a story of brotherhood. Michael Chiklis, who was in The Shield, plays the DEA agent who is pursuing Yul Vasquez's character. So I just felt like it was a very, very great mix of actors, a setting. We shot in the Dominican Republic, so that doubled for Miami of the 1970s. And I hope we made something people like. There is a huge fictional component to this story in order to make it have the kind of drive and energy a television series needs. But aside from the central premise of Roman Compte having to try to dime out his brother, the whole backdrop of it is real. You know, they're composites of real people. The mutiny actually existed. Obviously the war on drugs existed. So it's a blend. I call it historical fiction.
Now, if you were to meet your character face to face, what would you ask her?
What would I ask her? I thought you were going to ask me if I would be her friend.
Well, that too.
I would totally be her. I think she would be a great friend. What would I ask her? I would ask her to give me advice on how to be more patient. She's quite patient and grounded. And sometimes I can be a hothead.
Yeah, I have like really bad anxiety and I can never think straight. So.
No. Neither can I. No.
So my final question is, what do you want the audience to take away from watching just the first episode?
I want them to really learn that every pleasure has a price. So whenever you're having too much fun, somebody most likely will be paying for it.
What is your favorite thing about the 70s?
The music, I have to say. The music is all so fire, both on-set listening and dancing to music, and me and my friend Candy, who plays Gail, we would blast music in our dressing rooms to get pumped, so that's been a lot of fun to go on that nostalgic trip of really enjoying the music of the 70s.
What was it like for you going back to that period of time? It was a tumultuous time, but it was also very glamorous.
Oh my God, the glam, that was my favorite part. You know, I would go to hair and makeup with photos of Donna Summer and Diana Ross and Cher and just like try to embody, you know, their essence and the fun they had, and that they took risk with fashion. That was super fun to go back to and try. So this is a show not just about Miami in the 70s, but you have the family aspect, you also have a sisterhood with the Mutiny Girls, and you really get to see, you know, that pleasure does have a price. There's both sides to the story, and I really hope people enjoy the show and they watch it and just have a good time.
When you think about the 70s, what's the first thing you think of?
Bell bottoms.
They're coming back now, okay? That's all that I see on Fashion Nova.
I'm so excited about it because I love them.
Now, when you were to step into a role first, especially one that kind of goes back in time, it's a time that's glamorous but both tumultuous. How do you prep for that mentally and physically?
Yeah, the first thing I did was I made a playlist for Valeria with 70 songs, and I listen to the playlist every morning I'm on set. And honestly, the best way is to talk to my scene partners as well. We talk through the scene and we really find what the scene is truly about, and I think that's what helps me the most for sure.